I do want to talk about my
Nice.
dearly beloved country of Romania. I think a lot of people, when I tell them I do a tour there, always ask me, what's in Romania? Which honestly I asked the same thing. I went there when COVID was starting to open up, lockdown was ending, because it was one of the few countries in Europe I hadn't been to. I'm down to 3 now. But I got there and it was so fantastic. I had to do a tour of it. It was my first one. Romania is a truly special place. I'm going to rip the bones out and go real fast. But we start in Bucharest. Bucharest, its capital city, is a good indicator of the rest of the country. It started, 500 years ago. It was the home of Vlad the Impaler, Dracula, the actual Dracula, who's way more interesting than the vampires. And then it was the jewel. The Ottomans always wanted it as a suzerainty. The Austrians were all about it. You can still have amazing pastries, especially there because of the Austrians. Interbellum, between World War I and II, they called it Paris of the East because it was just so beautiful. And then communism hit it hard. It was a pretty bleak place. Now, that was tough for the country, and it's been tough for their reputation, because a lot of people think of Romania as just some sort of communist mud pit, and that is wildly inaccurate. But it's sidewalk cafes, it's beautiful architecture, it's so much history, so much that's so interesting. And now it's the 8th biggest city in the EU. It's a thriving financial place. It's an important city in the EU today, and actually has a lot of links with Luxembourg, but I don't have time to tell you, so hold that thought. One of the things I like about it, just to pick one thing out of the city, my favorite building is the Athenaeum. Here, this is last year's tour going there. I always got to help hold the map. The Athenaeum there is a remarkable building. It is their opera house, their concert house, and from the outside it looks kind of familiar. It's neoclassical, right? You've got the columns and the tympanum, the triangle. It looks all very logical, very angular, because neoclassical architecture, black and white, a lot of right angles, a lot of straight lines. It's logic and reason. If you think of the Pantheon in Paris, that type of thing. But you go inside, and it's very different. So you've got the pillars there, familiar from neoclassical, but it's in the circle because you have this Greek influence too. But if you look at the lamps there, those look like, kind of Aladdin's lamps. You get that Ottoman influence too, all combined in something uniquely Romanian, because every empire of any real note in this whole region of the planet has tried to conquer Romania, between the fields, growing all the cereals and grains in the south, and the beauty in the north, and the minerals and stuff there. They all want to own Romania. So all those, they're all present, that incredible crossroads. I've never been to a country that has as many cultural influences and remains itself as Romania. And you can see it in this architecture. They call it Brâncoveanu. He was one of their princes. He really synthesized this. So you get like the grand stair that almost looks like something out of Vienna, but with the circles and the curving and the warm kind of pastel colors, it's very not. And then you get to the main room, and you have this amazing mural that goes all the way around the outside there. It tells Romanian history, symbolism in the roof, incredible building. And we get our groups in there, and there's no one else there. Sometimes there's musicians playing. I've heard some amazing music when I've gone in there. It's just a remarkable space from a remarkable city in a remarkable country. Funny how they all line up. I chucked that in there real quick because there is one influence that wasn't in the Athenaeum, the German. This looks a lot like a German sort of palace, because it is. Their king was German. Romania became a country 1860, same time as Italy and Germany. Their first king was a German, so we'll check that out. Okay, skipping ahead past so much, we'll stay in Sibiu, an amazing Austrian-inspired Renaissance city, which in the summer, play in the fountains. Yeah, why not? It's just an amazing place. You got 3 city squares, all with like beautiful restaurants, great food. Take your pick among them and enjoy them. And then also has amazing churches. When David mentioned Ravenna and showed those Byzantine mosaics, that's the only thing that far west that you'll see that comes close to these. But when you go to Europe, you tend to go to a lot of churches because they were extremely important culturally, historically, politically, in all of the history of those centuries. You can't really understand European Christian history without going to an Orthodox one. It's not just Catholic or Protestant. You come to these Orthodox ones, and that doesn't look like anything you see anywhere west of here. The Baroque art of like the Wieskirche in Germany, no, this is different. Just the level of detail in there, and the kind of Byzantine, because we think of Byzantine as being over, but it continued and segued through here. So they continued, they just didn't have our same Renaissance. So to understand all these things you've heard of, the Renaissance, Michelangelo, all those guys, you got to come see the other paths taken. So to understand Western Europe, you got to come to Central or Eastern Europe. All right, I had to pop off really quick here to check out Turda, the salt mines in Turda. You can just see in the back a glass elevator, 13 floors down into this huge cavern. It's salty air. It's good for your lungs. It's a healing center. You can play pool. They got billiards down there and a Ferris wheel. If you want, you go 13 more stories down in a second elevator to where all the water they used in the mine all gathered, and there's a lake you can go rowing on there. So I had to show that it was safe. And then I can't talk about Turda or Romania without showing this photo, because I think it's the best photo I've ever taken. Kirk, I don't know if you're on the call tonight. You're coming on Benelux this year. I'm gonna find you a boat, man, because it was just so much fun watching you row around 26 floors under the ground. But the main thing I wanted to mention tonight, Bucovina is in the northern part of the country. A lot of people go, if they go to Romania, they go to Bucharest. Maybe they go to Peles Castle or Brasov. That's great. But the whole northern part is so beautiful and so many stories to tell, so much to do. We'll go up there. We spend a couple nights in that area, and there's so much to see. They have their own type of black pottery. We'll go to this place. This dude, he just came out. He didn't have, a canned presentation or tinny jokes or anything. He just came out. He sat down and he whipped out 6 of these vases in about a minute each. And it was just amazing to watch him work. His family's been doing this for generations. He grew up doing this. So he just makes them, and they're handmade. We just watched him make them, and they're almost identical. And it teaches you how to see the difference. Then you go in the shop next door and it's all what his family has made. And it's a distinct pottery history. The main thing up there that is getting noticed on the world stage because of UNESCO is these painted churches, which you've seen medieval art where they got to teach people how to not sin. You put it in a picture frame out west. Here you cover the entire outside of the church with it. And it's just a remarkable experience to go in there, see the role of faith, the way it all worked. And then it's in the middle of what's basically a castle, because the Ottomans made them burn down their castles, but they're allowed to have churches. And they said, this isn't a castle, it's a church. It just happens to have a fortification wall around it. So you go in there and it's just a remarkable cultural experience. There's so much up there. But we mentioned our hotels. The hotel, we started using it there. I love it. You go back to this beautiful hotel, play some badminton, play some soccer, try some of the local liquors and things, Romanian beer or the harder stuff, whatever you want. In the evening, it was a beautiful day. So they fired at the barbecue and just made us a feast. Way too much food. Romanian hospitality is incredible. When you're their guest, they treat you like a king. So all this food out there, as this beautiful summer afternoon faded into evening. It stayed a beautiful day, so we've got the fire going, sat out there in the nice air, looking at an insane amount of stars. It's a beautiful place. There's so much up there, or out there in Romania. Then headed back into Brasov, which is on this year's U.S. News list, top places to go. Thank you, Sandy. Of places to go for budget stuff. It's ill-served by these presentations because I'm always out of time by the time I get here. But it's a great city. Sit down on the bench with the Brasovians. That's the largest Gothic Protestant church in the area, and it's just a great place to be. So that's Romania tour. Look